Oh man, if we're talking about DC's most terrifying villains, we've got to talk about Brainiac. This guy isn't just your run-of-the-mill baddie, he's one of the smartest and most dangerous foes in the entire DC universe. He made his debut all the way back in Action Comics number 242 in 1958, and ever since, he's been proving that brains can be just as dangerous as brawn. Unlike most villains who crave power or revenge, Brainiac's obsession is on a whole different level. He's all about knowledge, hoarding it, preserving it, and making sure no one else ever gets their hands on it. He travels the universe in his freaky, skull-shaped spaceship, literally shrinking entire cities down to bottle size before wiping out their home planets. He's like a cosmic librarian, but, you know, the kind that commits mass genocide to keep his collection pristine. One of his most legendary trophies? Kandor, the capital of Superman's home planet, Krypton. In the New 52, Brainiac wasn't just a villain. He was the collector of worlds. He would go from planet to planet, bottling cities under the guise of saving them from destruction. And honestly, it was working perfectly until he set his sights on Earth. When Brainiac shrunk down Metropolis, Superman boarded his ship, only to spot a bottled city he recognized from his dreams. And then, boom, Brainiac drops the truth bomb. Superman's homeworld was Krypton, and that tiny city was the lost city of Kandor. As if that wasn't bad enough, Brainiac forced Superman into a nightmare scenario. Save Metropolis or save Kandor. But come on, this is Superman we're talking about. He doesn't play by the rules, and he sure doesn't play Brainiac's game. Instead, he finds a way to take down Brainiac and save both cities, though only Metropolis got restored to full size. Classic Supes! And let's talk about Brainiac's sheer power. This guy has a 12th level intellect. Yeah, that's way beyond Lex Luthor's 9th level intellect. Brainiac can outthink just about anyone, hack technology, and even control minds. His physical abilities are off the charts too, with strength, speed, and durability that put him toe-to-toe with Superman himself. And even when you think he's beaten, his artificial consciousness just rebuilds him in an even scarier form. Sometimes he's robotic, sometimes he's disturbingly organic. He's like a villainous Swiss Army knife of doom. It's no wonder Superman gets a shiver down his spine whenever Brainiac shows up. He's always this close to victory. And his alliances with villains like Lex Luthor or the Legion of Doom make him a threat not just to Superman but to the entire Justice League. His adaptability, his refusal to age, and his relentless drive for knowledge make him so much more than just another bad guy. Brainiac is a nightmare, a force of nature that refuses to die. And every time he comes back, you just know it's going to be bad news for the DC universe. Oh, buckle up, folks, because we're diving into the dark, tyrannical world of Darkseid, the ultimate big bad of the DC universe. Created by the legendary Jack Kirby, Darkseid is the ruthless ruler of Apokolips, a hellish planet where hope goes to die. He first made his ominous cameo in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen number 134 before stepping fully into the spotlight in Forever People number 1. And ever since, he's been a nightmare incarnate for our heroes. Darkseid isn't just another villain. He's the literal embodiment of cruelty and domination. His ultimate goal? To bend every sentient being in the universe to his will by unlocking the anti-life equation. And trust me, this isn't just some doomsday device. The anti-life equation gives him control over free will itself. Imagine a universe where every thought, every action, every single choice is controlled by Darkseid. Yeah, it's that terrifying. And while he's got the raw strength to go toe-to-toe with Superman, seriously, this guy can throw hands with the Man of Steel. He doesn't even need to. Darkseid rarely gets his hands dirty. Instead, he rules through sheer terror and manipulation. His weapon of choice? The Omega Sanction. This isn't just a laser beam. His Omega beams can disintegrate, teleport, or trap his victims in endless loops of torment. It's the kind of power that makes even the bravest heroes break into a cold sweat. But Darkseid doesn't do it all alone. He's got an elite squad of nightmare fuel by his side, including the sinister Granny Goodness, the twisted D-Sud, and the ruthless female Furies. They make sure Apokolips remains a living nightmare, a world where mercy doesn't exist and obedience is the only law. One of Darkseid's most brutal storylines unfolds in Final Crisis. His son, Orion, returns to Earth through a boom tube for the ultimate showdown. And let me tell you, this battle is no joke. It's brutal, raw, and utterly unforgiving. Orion manages to rip Darkseid's heart out, leaving behind a fiery pit of apocalyptic rage in his chest. You'd think that'd be the end, right? Wrong. Darkseid doesn't just die, he falls backward through time, his essence reborn as the human boss Darkseid. And even as a human, he's still pulling strings, resurrecting his minions, manipulating the villain Libra, and sowing chaos from the shadows. In The Flash Volume 2 number 240, he brainwashes an entire army using the spoken form of the anti-life equation. Over in Birds of Prey number 118, he's running the Darkseid Club, forcing superhumans to fight to the death under mind-controlling drugs. This guy just doesn't quit. He uses the anti-life equation to reduce heroes to mindless slaves, and even Batman isn't spared, seemingly killed while trying to stop him. It's only in the final moments that Superman manages to save the day, but not before the entire multiverse is teetering on the edge of annihilation. Darkseid has gone head-to-head with the Justice League more times than we can count, and while they might beat him back, he never truly falls. This isn't just a villain, he's a god, a force of nature whose return is as inevitable as the setting sun. His menace, his intelligence, his scale of destruction, nobody in DC history matches it. Whether it's in the comics, animation, or live action, Darkseid remains the pinnacle of cosmic evil. He's the one villain even the strongest heroes fear, the one whose shadow looms over the universe, reminding everyone that true darkness is always just a heartbeat away. Hold on to your capes, because we're diving into the terrifying world of Doomsday, the monster who did what no other villain could. He killed Superman. This guy isn't just another super strong bruiser in the DC universe. He's an absolute force of nature, a walking extinction event with a grudge against Kryptonians and an insatiable hunger for destruction. Doomsday first stomped onto the scene in Superman, the Man of Steel, number 17 back in 1992, brought to life by a powerhouse team of creators. Dan Jurgens, Jerry Ordway, Roger Stern, Louise Simonson, and Brett Breeding. His origins are as horrifying as they come. He was created on ancient Krypton by the twisted scientist Bertron, who subjected him to a nightmare cycle of death and resurrection. Bertron would expose him to Krypton's deadly environment, let him die, and then clone him from whatever scraps remained. Over and over, Doomsday died. And over he came back stronger, more resilient, and with an ever-growing hatred for all things Kryptonian. This brutal evolution process eventually made him nearly indestructible. And yeah, that's as terrifying as it sounds. Doomsday's crowning achievement came in the iconic Death of Superman storyline in 1993. This wasn't just a battle, it was an all-out war between the unstoppable force and the immovable object. Superman threw everything he had at Doomsday, and Doomsday just kept coming. The battle tore through the streets of Metropolis, leveling buildings and shaking the entire world. And then, in a gut-wrenching moment that left fans everywhere in shock, they dealt each other fatal blows. Superman died in Lois Lane's arms, his cape tattered. The world left mourning its greatest hero. This wasn't just a comic book moment, it was a cultural phenomenon. Doomsday became a symbol of pure, unyielding power. He was the monster who broke the unbreakable. But here's the thing. Doomsday's biggest strength is also his biggest weakness. While his regenerative abilities and adaptability make him nearly impossible to kill for good, they also make it hard for writers to find new ways to use him. He's been flung into space, torn apart by teleporters, and even stranded at the end of time. Each time, he just comes back meaner and harder to kill. He's like a horror movie villain dialed up to 11, Jason Voorhees with superpowers. That said, Doomsday's simple, singular focus is both his charm and his curse. He exists to kill Superman, and, let's be real, he's terrifyingly good at it. But outside of that role, he struggles to find a place in the wider DC narrative. He's raw power without purpose, a doomsday weapon without a target. Sure, his appearances still pack a punch, but nothing ever hits quite as hard as that first, world-shaking showdown with Superman. At the end of the day, Doomsday remains a chilling reminder of how even the mightiest heroes can fall. He might not always steal the spotlight, but when he does, you know things are about to get real. Because when Doomsday is in town, even the strongest heroes in the DC universe know they're in for the fight of their lives. Alright folks, strap in, because we're about to dive into the chaotic, insectoid nightmare that is Annihilus, one of Marvel's most terrifying cosmic villains. This guy isn't just another space tyrant, he's the walking embodiment of annihilation. First appearing in Fantastic Four, Annual number 6, Annihilus comes from the negative zone, a twisted dimension where survival is a daily battle. And guess what? Annihilus isn't just surviving, he's dominating. Born on the desolate world of Anthros, Annihilus clawed his way to power with sheer brutality. His secret weapon? The Cosmic Control Rod. This artifact doesn't just give him super strength and longevity, it lets him harness and control cosmic energy. Now, unlike the Power Cosmic, which offers a smorgasbord of godlike abilities, Annihilus uses his rod with a razor-sharp focus to sustain himself and keep his reign of terror going. This dude is so obsessed with his own survival that he's willing to burn entire galaxies to ash just to keep breathing. Talk about commitment, right? But don't mistake him for just another galactic warlord. Annihilus is the twisted mind behind the Annihilation Wave, a campaign of genocide so intense it nearly erased the entire cosmic side of the Marvel Universe in 2005. This wasn't just a skirmish, it was an all-out slaughter. On Annihilation Day, his insectoid army wiped out 1,000,000 worlds in a single, devastating strike. Imagine entire star systems blinking out of existence overnight. That's Annihilus's calling card. His invasion force was a sight of pure horror. Commanding 5 core fleets, Annihilus led the charge alongside his equally terrifying lieutenants, Admiral Sallow and the 3 ruthless queens, Erotica, Extasia, and Exterminatrix. These names alone scream villainy, and their arsenal backed it up. Picture planetoid-sized warships ripping through the cosmos, and then there's the Harvester of Sorrow, a weapon so powerful it could destroy entire planets like popping bubbles. When the Annihilation Wave hit, the Marvel Universe was on its knees. Heroes who usually fight their own battles, like the Silver Surfer, Nova, and even the Mad Titan Thanos, had to team up just to stand a chance. You know things are serious when Thanos, a guy who courts death itself, decides to step in. The situation got so dire that Galactus, yes, the Galactus, had to bring the smackdown to end Annihilus's reign of terror. And yet, even with the World Eater on their side, victory was barely in reach. And if you think that was the end of Annihilus, think again. Thanks to prolonged exposure to the cosmic control rod and some twisted experiments by Dr. Boltar, Annihilus evolved into something even scarier. His power grew to the point where even Thanos, the Thanos, acknowledged him as a threat. The Nova Corps classified Annihilus as a universal threat and a Category 1 criminal if he ever stepped into the positive universe. That's like having a Doomsday Device sticker slapped on your back wherever you go. Annihilus isn't just a villain, he's an extinction-level event. He's the kind of enemy that makes even the most powerful beings in the Marvel cosmos stop and rethink their life choices. His name is a promise that wherever he goes, annihilation follows. And trust me, in the vastness of space, when Annihilus is on the move, nowhere is safe. Alright, get ready for a deep dive into one of DC's most terrifying androids, Amazo. This isn't just another metal menace. Amazo is the ultimate superhero copycat, a walking doomsday device built to take down the entire Justice League. Introduced in The Brave and the Bold number 30, Amazo was created by the twisted genius Professor Ivo, whose obsession with immortality led to the creation of this deadly android. But here's the kicker. Amazo doesn't just mimic powers temporarily, he retains them, adding each new ability to his ever-growing arsenal. Imagine facing off against a villain who doesn't just copy your strength, he keeps them, combining them with everything he's already absorbed. When he goes toe-to-toe with a single hero, he's already a nightmare. But when he faces the entire Justice League, it's game over. He can wield Superman's strength, Flash's speed, Wonder Woman's combat skills, and Batman's tactical genius, all at the same time. That's not just a tough fight, that's an apocalyptic threat. What makes Amazo even scarier is that he isn't just a mindless machine. Over the years, he's evolved, gaining sentience and a disturbing level of self-awareness. He's no longer just Ivo's weapon. He's a being with his own goals and a relentless drive for self-improvement. He even has a son, Kid Amazo, proving that his legacy is more than just metal and programming. And in the New 52, that legacy took a wild turn with the emergence of the Amazo virus. Lex Luthor, never one to pass up a bad idea, used this virus in a twisted experiment, turning Armin Icarus into a new version of the android. This wasn't just a villain, it was a plague, spreading Amazo's adaptive, power-stealing abilities like a sickness. But here's the truth about Amazo. Every time he comes back, he's stronger, smarter, and way harder to stop. He's like the ultimate video game boss, leveling up with every encounter until the Justice League has to pull out every trick in the book just to slow him down. And even then, nothing is guaranteed. Amazo isn't just a villain, he's a living evolution, a nightmare with no ceiling to his power, no limit to his adaptability. When he steps onto the battlefield, you know things are about to get intense. And even the strongest heroes need to bring their A-game, or risk becoming just another power in his collection. Alright, comic fans, it's time to talk about the big guy, Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. When it comes to cosmic threats in the Marvel Universe, Galactus isn't just another overpowered supervillain. He's a literal force of nature, an entity that exists on a scale so grand that even the strongest heroes tremble at his arrival. Since his debut in Fantastic Four number 48, Galactus has stood as one of Marvel's most powerful and complex antagonists, a being whose very existence challenges the universe itself. Before becoming the planet-eating titan we know today, Galactus was once a mortal named Galen from the planet Taia. But when the sixth cosmos met its end, Galen fused with the sentience of his dying universe, transforming through an incubation period in the new cycle of existence, the seventh cosmos. When he emerged, he wasn't just another being, he was Galactus, a cosmic juggernaut driven by an insatiable hunger for planetary life energy. When it comes to power, Galactus operates on a whole different level. Even at his weakest, he's a match for cosmic heavyweights like Silver Surfer, Thor, and Odin. This is a guy who once battled Agamotto, the same Agamotto who is one-third of the Vishanti, mystical beings that transcend infinite higher dimensions. When he's well-fed, Galactus's power skyrockets. He's clashed with the in-betweener as an equal, holding the balance between eternity and death, chaos and order. He's even absorbed Dormammu and the flames of the Faltine, pushing his strength to absurd new heights. But here's where things get truly mind-blowing. Galactus's true threat lies in his potential. If he ever abandoned his restraint, he could consume entire realities. Imagine the entire omniverse, every universe, every dimension, reduced to scraps, returning all of existence to the first firmament. And if that's not wild enough, Galactus wields the ultimate nullifier, a weapon so powerful it can erase and recreate the multiversal eternity itself. It's like holding the reset button for all of creation. Unlike most villains, though, Galactus isn't driven by greed or malice. His destruction is a necessity, an unyielding hunger that he must satisfy to survive. To find worlds suitable for consumption, he appoints heralds like the Silver Surfer, granting them a fraction of his power cosmic. These heralds act as his eyes and ears, scouring the universe for his next meal. But Galactus himself is more than a destroyer. He's part of the universe's natural order. He's even stated that one day, he is destined to restore balance, giving back far more than he has taken. Of course, not all of Galactus's appearances have been stellar. His depiction as a giant cloud in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, 2007, was, let's say, not his finest moment. But don't let that movie fool you. In the comics, Galactus remains a towering, awe-inspiring figure. He stands alongside entities like Eternity and the Living Tribunal, beings who define the very fabric of Marvel's cosmos. When Galactus arrives, it's not just a battle, it's an event. His presence forces even the mightiest heroes to unite, sometimes even teaming up with their greatest enemies, just to survive. And while Galactus has faced his share of defeats, his legend only grows. Occasionally, he even joins forces with heroes against greater cosmic threats, showing that his role in the universe isn't just about destruction, it's about balance. Galactus is the ultimate reminder that in the vastness of the Marvel Universe, there are threats beyond good and evil, beings whose actions echo across reality itself. Whether feared or respected, few characters command the same sense of cosmic grandeur as Galactus. When he appears, you know the stakes couldn't be higher, and that's why he'll always be one of Marvel's greatest legends. Hold on to your X genes, folks, because we're diving into the world of one of Marvel's most ancient and terrifying mutants, Apocalypse. This guy isn't just another supervillain, he's the original mutant, the prototype for all mutant kind, and he's been shaking up the Marvel universe for centuries. Born in ancient Egypt as En-Saba-Nur, Apocalypse's story begins with survival in a brutal world, and his philosophy ever since has been survival of the fittest. On a global scale, Apocalypse's powers go far beyond his signature ability to grow to massive sizes, which we've seen in countless cartoons and video games. Sure, that's cool, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. This guy is a master of shape-shifting, teleportation, mind control, reality distortion, and self-healing. He can enhance the powers of other mutants and has openly admitted that he hasn't even unlocked his full potential yet. Yeah, that's the level of menace we're talking about. Throughout history, Apocalypse has been at the center of some of the darkest and most twisted storylines in X-Men history. One of his most notorious moves came in X-Men Alpha. After Charles Xavier was killed by his own time-traveling son, Legion, Apocalypse saw his chance and took it. He seized control of the world, bringing about the Age of Apocalypse. This wasn't just another villain takeover. Apocalypse claimed North America as his kingdom, split territories among his most powerful followers, and began a ruthless campaign of human extermination. Under his rule, only mutants who bowed to him were spared, and even they had to endure horrific experiments designed to push their powers to the absolute limit. And if you think that's intense, just wait until X of Swords. Apocalypse ventured into the hellish dimension of Amenth to rescue his lost family, only to find his wife Genesis had become the new Annihilation. The ensuing battle wasn't just a family squabble, it was a clash that determined the fate of entire worlds. Apocalypse emerged victorious, claiming the Annihilation helmet for himself. By doing so, he not only freed Genesis from its corrupting influence, but also ascended to a terrifying new level of power. At this point, he wasn't just a mutant threat. He had become a literal demonic god, wielding control over the armies of Annihilation. Apocalypse embodies the concept of end times. His power, combined with his ancient knowledge, makes him nearly impossible to defeat. The X-Men have often had to resort to extreme measures just to slow him down. One of the most chilling examples of this comes from Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force. When Wolverine's Black Ops team is tasked with taking out Apocalypse while he's still a child, it shows just how dangerous he truly is. Even as a child, the team couldn't risk him growing into the unstoppable force they knew he would become. And they took him out with brutal efficiency. Apocalypse isn't just a villain. He's a myth, a force of nature, and a constant reminder that in the Marvel Universe, evolution isn't always kind. He represents a threat not just to the X-Men, but to the entire world, and his return is always a harbinger of doom. When Apocalypse rises, it's not just another fight, it's the end of days. Alright, speedsters and comic fans, buckle up because we're about to dive into the twisted, time-warping world of Professor Zoom, the original Reverse Flash, and the ultimate thorn in Barry Allen's side. Eobard Thawne isn't just another supervillain, he's a literal nightmare for the Flash, a villain who doesn't just want to defeat Barry Allen, but utterly dismantle his life piece by piece. Born in the 25th century, Thawne's story is as complex as it is sinister. His lineage ties him directly to Barry's own family. He's a descendant of Barry's twin brother, Malcolm Thawne. This familial connection adds a whole new layer to his vendetta. For Thawne, this isn't just about power or conquest, it's deeply personal. He idolized Barry Allen to the point of obsession, but when he discovered he could never truly become the Flash, his admiration turned into a burning hatred. What sets Professor Zoom apart from other speedsters is his creation of the negative Speed Force. This isn't just a darker version of the regular Speed Force, it's a corrupting energy source that lets Thawne do some seriously messed up stuff. He can erase people from existence, manipulate time, and even alter personalities. His powers make him a threat not just in the physical sense, but also on a psychological and temporal level. He can literally rewrite history to suit his twisted whims. Thawne's vendetta against Barry is brutal. He doesn't just want to defeat him, he wants to ruin his life. We're talking about psychological torment, manipulation, and straight-up murder. One of his most infamous acts? Killing Barry's mother, Nora Allen, and framing his father for the crime. This act of cruelty is the catalyst for so much of Barry's story, and it just goes to show how deeply Thawne's evil runs. And it's not just Barry who's felt Thawne's wrath. This guy's influence stretches far and wide across the DC universe. He's tangled with Batman, led his own Legion of Zoom, and been part of multiple villainous organizations like the Sinestro Corps, Black Lantern Corps, White Lantern Corps, and the Secret Society of Supervillains. One of his alternate versions even led the Acolytes of Zoom. Thawne is everywhere, and his hands are always in something nefarious. When it comes to changing reality, Thawne is in a league of his own. He played a pivotal role in the controversial Flashpoint event, a storyline that led to the 2011 New 52 reboot. This wasn't just a little timeline tweak, this was a reality-shattering event that reshaped the entire DC universe. His reality-warping abilities even influenced major storylines like Doomsday Clock, which brought the Watchmen into the mainstream DC continuity. Thawne isn't just a Flash villain, he's a threat to the entire multiverse. While villains like Darkseid and Doomsday bring raw, world-crushing power, few can match Thawne's level of personal malice and cunning. His hatred is surgical. He knows where to strike to cause the most damage. And his knack for surviving his own apparent deaths only makes him more dangerous. Thawne is like a bad dream that keeps coming back, more vicious and twisted each time. Professor Zoom isn't just a villain, he's a force of chaos, a living reminder that sometimes the most dangerous threats aren't just the strongest, but the ones who know how to hurt you the most. When Thawne is in play, nothing is safe. Not your past, not your future, and certainly not your present. If you loved diving into the twisted world of comic book villains and want more epic breakdowns, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below with which villain or hero you'd like us to cover next. Your pick could be featured in our next video. Stay tuned, stay geeky, and as always, keep those pages turning.